fuck about none
Well,
of
I tell you
right
what,
now.
watch that fucking because that'll go bad.
Call it what you want.
I don't do no fucking
You
homie. Well, it is a threat if you calling me. I don't. My,
This is like two little
you
kids
talking about?
fighting.
If you want to get back to the conversation, ain't no, because you ain't gonna do.
Yay, Corey Holcomb and Anton Daniels. You know what? It's so embarrassing to watch men, fathers, people beef and bicker, perpetuating the cultural stereotype.
It kind of shocked me to see him fold that quick.
It didn't shock me because what people may not have been able to see is that he was shaking. Like he was shaking like a stripper, like trying to hold the mic shaking. And you can probably see it if you actually kind of look at it.
I'm gonna tell you like this: when people are shaking, two things that it can mean. One, they gonna crash out, or they trying to hold a crazy in. It don't always mean that someone is scared of you. MMA fighters shake before they fight. How about this? Even a person like Jay-Z, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, they get the bubble guts before they get on stage. What that means? What are you really trying to prove? Because your point that you're trying to make right now makes no sense. I'm just pointing that out.
Man, he was scared. And it was a defense mechanism. And so, you know, when we were having a conversation, he was outwitted because I started talking a lot more intellectual about local voting and how that affects communities. And I know that he don't vote. I started talking about culture and the transatlantic slave trade, and he tried to box me in by saying, but you're black. And I said, no, I'm a Christian first. You know, I actually believe in Jesus. And so all of this type of, you know, conversation was going way over his head. And so what he would do is he would try to change the subject real fast and then go to another point, go to another point. And we couldn't stay on anything because he kept moving the goalposts as a defense mechanism as to not get embarrassed on his platform. And then, as expected, he threw an insult and said that I like to kiss, you know, pardon my French, white people's ass, white men's ass.
I feel like some people just don't need to commingle. Some people think they so book smart that they could just outsmart anyone. You don't become smart to try to make someone feel stupid. You're trying to uplift someone, you want to help the community, then put them on, pull them to the side. Don't try to publicly humiliate them. I mean, I don't understand what people get out of that right there. I feel like Anton let the money get to his head at this point.
To which I then responded with the same energy, well, you like to suck black people's D, right? Now, some people would say, well, Anton, you took it too far, right? And you can make an argument for that, sure. But I also understood who I was talking to and how far he takes it on a regular basis. And I see him disrespecting people, and he had just disrespected me. And you can't, and the lesson there is, you can't control how people respond when they disrespect you. I could have been the bigger person, but I decided not to on that platform because I seen weakness in him. And I also wanted to expose him because he thinks he's a bully and he picks and chooses his targets, which I told him that also. So with him getting up and moving the chairs and all of that stuff, nobody was fearful of it. And it wasn't about being tough or anything like that. But it was like, okay, well, let's just see how far it goes. Let's see how far the rabbit hole goes.
And I don't mean to take anything away from Anton, but this seems like Revenge of the Nerds. Or I don't look at Corey as a bully. However, yeah, he played himself. He played himself. He let his ego get the best of him to the point where instead of fighting with words, he wanted to get physical, but it didn't really work. I guess he was trying to punk him, and you know, like I said, Revenge of the Nerds, he had to show face, so he had to say, let's take it outside. In reality, let's take it outside. Let's be serious. You had security. He had security. No one's trying to get into a shootout on camera while you guys are streaming. It don't work like that. So a lot of it was theatrical, if you ask me, on both parts.
And it really amounted to just one of those type of dogs that like to bark on the porch, but then when they actually step out there, when you remove the fence from it, and again, he was shaking and all of that stuff. When you remove the fence from it, it amounted to practically nothing. Even so much so to the point to where I said, listen, we don't even have to keep talking about it. We can go out back if you tough, and we can figure it out back there. Because one thing that I'm not going to do, because I know that YouTube don't like fighting. They will demonetize you. They will penalize you. It can go really, really bad. So I'm not going to mess up this platform, and I'm not going to mess up my platform either. And so I'm like, well, listen, we could just go out back. We don't even have to cut the we don't have to cut the stream or anything like that. We can figure it out if you think you're tough. To which I already knew he wasn't going to do it. And he did exactly what I did, what I thought he was going to do. He sat back down. He shook my hand. And then we continued the conversation. And at that point, I seen the weakness. And so I just proceeded to exploit him. I told him that he was scary, that he picks and chooses his targets, that he's hypocritical, that he was scared of Dave Chappelle. That's why he tiptoed around giving his opinion on a special. I told him that the people around him are yes men, and they just tell him what he want to hear. And he doesn't have any real friends, and that's why he continues to alienate people. And so I was very candid and matter of fact, and I didn't pull any punches, and I told him exactly what he was. And once I seen that it was escalating more, and then he started calling me out of my name again, I think that the intelligent thing to do at that point, because I had already made my point, was just to go ahead and walk away.
So Corey handled himself well, because I know Corey, right? Corey is, if any disrespect, he's about that action. You know what I'm saying? So, but when somebody's running a play, you can't just be about that action, because if they're running a play, you could actually be carrying out somebody else's agenda by he's standing on something that's connected to your principles.
I kind of understand what he's saying, but no, they both were rage baiting each other. So don't sit here and try to make it look like Corey was a victim. Nobody was a victim in this case, in my opinion. Y'all let me know in the comments.
100%. I 100% agree with this right here.
That was a great exhibition of a Texas sharpshooter fallacy last night on 5150, done by Antoine. Texas sharpshooter fallacy is when somebody poses an argument and they frame a narrative around the argument to make it seem like what they're saying is accurate. Last night was a cavalcade of illogical fallacies. You had two men who have opposing opinions. Both have justified opinions to feel that whatever way they want to feel.
Sure.
Antoine being a conservative, pushing the narratives he has the right to do it. Corey being who Corey is, being a comedian with a comedic point of view. Yep. That's what a lot of people who are political don't understand about a comic. A comic's political point of view is personal. It's not political. So it's a personal point of view based on life experiences, and it's your interpretation of the world through your view. Sure. When you have somebody that's political, their worldview is really a microcosm of whatever political party they're subservient to. If I was on the show, once I sensed that Antoine was speaking in Texas sharpshooter fallacy, I would have ended the show or stopped the conversation.
In other words, my boy, you're not intellectual enough to box with God, basically, is what he's saying. Anton is the type of smart ass that, you know, he's not no dummy. He's very intellectual. The boy knows some things. When you're not on that level, oh yeah, the play will get set. The play will get set. They gonna get your ego riled up. They're going to get you out of character. You're going to be emotional, impulsive. And they're going to have you right where they need you. But like I said, Corey was doing it in an ignorant hood way. He just don't know how to control it. But Anton knew exactly what he was doing.
But that's not really what caused the dust up. What caused the dust up was kissing of a white man's ass. Comment back was upping the ante of slurping down BBC. Corey's comment towards Anton resulted in a verbal response. Anton's comment towards Corey resulted in a threatening response. That back and forth, that simple back and forth was what instigated it to the next level.
Man, listen. No one knows what instigated what. All I know is that they don't like each other. Point blank. They never liked each other before they sat down in that room. So what did you really expect? Homie right here knew exactly what he was doing. All this for likes and clicks. And guess what? Now you got two parties ready to go at war. One thinking he's super tough and he really not, and the other one can't control his anger. Huh? Y'all be the judge. Go in the comments. Don't forget, like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel.